Peace and blessings, beautiful people. Peace and blessings. This is Empress Imani, and welcome to this episode of Sacred Love Lessons. So, you guys, today I had a question. I wanted to do this experiment. I was listening to Michael Jackson's, may he rest in power, Michael Jackson's Off the Wall song, right? I think it's on that album, Off the Wall album, that he did with Quincy Jones. But I was listening to that song, and I imagined and I asked myself, what would happen if I lived my life off the wall, right? So I'm coming to you and I'm asking you that question too. What would happen if you lived your life off the wall, right? What would happen if you put your 9 to 5 or whatever the hours are on the shelf? Let's say you want to have your own business. You want to be your own boss, CEO, whatever. But you want to do your own thing. Let's say you want to be a digital nomad or a remote worker. You want to be location free, whatever you want to call it, whatever title you want to give it. Let's say that's what you wanted. What would happen if you put your 9 to 5 on the shelf and you actually went and did what you wanted to do? What would happen if you lived without wondering or being worried about what other people thought? To all the people pleasers out there, I'm talking to you right now. This is your part. What would happen if you just lived your life? Be happy. On your terms, on God's terms. What would happen? What would that look like for you? What would that be like? Imagine that in your mind's eye right now. What would that be like? You're not worried about what this person is thinking, what that person is thinking, how this person over here is going to feel. Now, I'm not talking about neglecting children or anything like that, okay? We're all responsible adults here, right? And I'm so supportive and advocate of adulting, right? Because everyone must carry their own water. So we're all being responsible adults. But what would happen if you just did not concern yourself with what other people thought of you? To all the people that are still in the closet, who are afraid to come forth with your sexuality, you're afraid of being your true, authentic self. I've been there. I know what that's like. What would that be like for you if you lived your life off the wall? What would life be like for you if you lived your childhood dreams? And you guys, I've been going back to my childhood, really tapping into that energy, that youthful energy, reminding myself of what it was that I wanted when I came through, how I wanted to live, how the fantasies that I had about life and what I imagined in my third eye of what I wanted from my life. I've been going back to that, So I highly recommend and ask you today, what would your life be like if you could go back to that, right? To that moment, to that time. Maybe you can't be, especially if you're like much older, your body just can't do what it used to do. Or maybe, let's say you had a dream to be an NFL player, but you're beyond that, right? In terms of age and athleticism, you're beyond that now. But maybe, okay, you can go do something else. They have other leagues that you can play in. Maybe you can play in your local, league or whatever. Maybe you can play, I don't know if they still have arena ball. Y'all let me know. I don't think they have that anymore. But anyway, if they do, maybe you could still, you could play arena ball. Maybe you could play what you wanted to play or do what you wanted to do, but just on a different level. Like say you play an instrument, right? And you've always wanted to play in a symphony, or something like that, something fancy, or you've always wanted to be on Broadway. What's keeping you from auditioning? Maybe you can, get your vocals tight, or you can go take lessons, get you a coach or whatever. You can pull out your instrument, tune up, get it back going again, and maybe you can audition. It's a lot of things that are going on just on a virtual level. So sometimes even now you don't even have to travel. Everyone's just doing everything virtually, right? But what would that look like if you could go back and recapture your childhood dreams and bring them forward into 2021? What would that look like for you? So my challenge is for you today. I have a challenge for you. And we're going to call this the Off the Wall Experiment. And yes, I am participating. I will never ask you to do anything that I either have not done myself or that I will not walk through with you. Yes, I am participating. This is called the Off the Wall Experiment. Go back, revisit. You guys know, pull out your journal. If you don't have a journal, you can go over to sacredloveshop.com. You can get one of our Sacred Love Lessons journals, right? They're on sale right now. But go over there, pick up your journal, take out your journal, write down your dreams. What was it that you always wanted to do? No matter how small you think it is, no matter how big you think it is, you don't need to know the how, okay? We're just dreaming right now. We're visualizing right now, right? This is part of the law of attraction, where we're activating the law of attraction. We're going to do the Off the Wall Experiment. Get your journal, write it down. Put some of the things in there that you would love to have done at this point in your life. Then, that's step one. You get your journal, you write it down. Step one. Step two, pick one thing off that list. One thing. And you can start with something small. I highly recommend you start with something small. Let's say you've always wanted to jump out of an airplane or something. What do they call that? I don't know what you call that. Skydiving. Let's say you've always wanted to skydive, but maybe you're not quite ready to jump out of the plane. But they have one of those places. We have one in South Florida. I don't know what you call it. Where you go and they put you in you get the skydiving suit. And then they have like the little wind tunnel, and they put you in there and you float around, and it's like you're skydiving, and you can practice on how to skydive, and they have like instructors and people to show you how to do it. Or maybe you want to surf, right? And say you're not by the ocean or anything like that, but they have like a wave pool where you live, and you can go and surf in the wave pool, because they do that here. I've seen it down in Hollywood, Florida. And you can like surf. I've seen people take lessons, and stuff like that, learning how to surf. That's a step. So first, your step one is to write it down in your journal. Step two is to pick one thing, just one thing off the list, and then go do it. It doesn't have to be anything small. It could be as large or small as you want it to be. It's your life. But we're calling it the Off the Wall Experiment. And yes, I am participating. I'm going to come back in 30 days. And I'm going to report in about the one thing that I did from this list. I'm not going to tell you my whole list. No. But I'm going to tell you the one thing that I did. Childhood dream. The one thing that I did that I've always wanted to do. I'm going to put it on my list. And then I'm going to do it. Okay? So that's all I have for you today. I challenge you today. Here at Sacred Love Lessons, every day is Self-Love Day. Love yourself. Don't forget to go over to sacredloveshop.com, where you will find tools for your personal and spiritual development. And until we speak again, be the light.